Welcome back, brothers and sisters. I am Braden. This is Langley Outdoors Academy, the place where we not only talk about what's going on in the gun world, but also how we're going to fix it together. And the content that we're going to talk about today is something that you guys need to know because the ATF, it turns out they are busily working behind and pushing letters through around 1,300 pages worth on how they're going to stop private peer-to-peer sales of Second Amendment items. Weird how that shapes out, isn't it? Everything will be linked in the description box below. I can't wait to hear what you guys think on this one. And of course, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn the notification bell on. All right, my brothers and sisters. So what we're going to talk about is a little weird right off the bat. So back in August, we talked about how the White House had decided that they were going to put forward a new rule request through the ATF utilizing the Safer Communities Act, the bipartisan Safer Communities Act, around your gun rights. We covered it a lot. It was basically that whole story around, well, if you've had that gun for 25 days, you can sell it, but less than 25 days, you can't. And if it's still in the original box, then you can't. But if it is, like all these different nuances of what makes you a dealer, okay? That's what this entire thing is built upon. Well, this is a leak coming out. This is the article is linked right down there. And it's coming out around the proposal that they're putting forward. And oh, little fun fact, kind of a spoiler alert. It's written by the guy who is involved in Fast and the Furious. I'm not worried at all. Anyway, let's get going. ATF whistleblowers sound alarm on Biden administration proposal that effectively bans private gun sales, report. Watchdog group says alleged ATF proposal would go after law-abiding citizens for private gun sales. As you can see, the date right there is February 1. Let me show you what they're doing. Again, this is off of the request in August by the Biden administration. Okay, this is a newer development, right? Whistleblowers at the ATF are sounding the alarm on a reported 1,300-page draft document that allegedly justifies a proposed rule that would effectively ban private gun sales, according to a watchdog group. We're going to get to them in 1 second. So this is coming from the inside of the ATF. Whistleblowers are saying this is what's going down, and the original draft document is 1,300 pages. This is not a final rule. It has not been put in the Federal Register. I'm talking about something that is circulating as a draft. Okay? This is the baseline. Things will be taken in or taken out and put back in. That's what we're talking about. But let me show you the actual source here. Quote, the fact that inside ATF sources are blowing the whistle on this draft rule is an indication of what a difficult position it would put the ATF in. ATF agents did not sign up to go after law-abiding citizens for private sales protected under the Second Amendment of the Constitution, Tristan Levitt, president of the watchdog group Empower Oversight, said in a press release Wednesday. So this came out yesterday. Listen to what they're actually accusing in this letter that they sent to the ATF, because this would affect every single person. Everyone watching this video and everyone you're going to send it to, please, would absolutely be affected by this. Check this out. The letter details that the group learned through, quote, two sources in the ATF that a direction of the White House, the ATF has drafted a 1,300-page document in support of a rule that would effectively ban private sales of firearms from one citizen to another by requiring background checks for every sale. So what this is doing is this is basically laying out the idea that the ATF was requested by the White House back in August to put together a federal rule that would basically change the law of who was a dealer from the Senate Bipartisan Act, Safer Communities Act, and now it's being circulated on the back end as a draft. That's where we're at right now, okay? This is a really big deal, guys, because if this comes out and it gets published, this is going to change a lot of things. In my opinion, it's heavily unconstitutional and it won't survive challenge. But when has that stopped them? Because they're taking L's all over the place. Let's continue. The watchdog reported that the current draft document is reportedly being overseen by senior policy counsel Eric Epstein, who previously worked as the Phoenix Field Office's division counsel in a precursor operation to Fast and Furious. If you're not familiar, Fast and Furious was the operation where guns were being run and allowed by the ATF into Mexico, and then cartel members were then killing actual Border Patrol agents. A little uncomfortable with what we're talking about right now in the public discussion, isn't it? The same guy who's doing that is circulating this rule, which is a 1,300-page document saying how every individual is a FFL dealer. Now, again, this is alleged. This is from a whistleblower, so I haven't seen the document, but that's what's coming out right now, all right? Let's continue. I got two more things for you. This is actually some interesting stuff, and wait until I show you what the ATF actually said when they were questioned about this. Quote, Such an expansive rule that treats all private citizens the same as federal firearm licensees would circumvent the separation of powers in the Constitution. That's the ATF and the executive branch taking the power from Congress, which grants all legislative powers to Congress while requiring that the President take care that the laws be faithfully executed. To the extent such a rule prevents the private sale of firearms, it would also clearly violate the Second Amendment to the United States Constitution, which declares the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed, Levitt wrote. And this is the part that's almost as equally concerning as anything else that we've just covered. Listen to what the ATF said when they were questioned about this draft document. Again, 1,300 pages. Every single person selling a gun is now a federal firearms license requiree. Okay, here's what they said. When asked for comment on the watchdog group's letter, the ATF directed Fox News to information on the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act. Quote, the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act, enacted in June 25, 2022, amended the definition of engaging in the business of dealing in firearms to include all persons who devote time, attention, and labor to dealing in firearms as a regular course of trade or business to predominantly earn a profit through the repetitive purchase and sale of firearms, the ATF said in a comment. So we ask you about something that's going on with a document that's authored by one of the guys involved in the precursor operation of Fast and the Furious around making every individual a private seller, every private seller a federal firearms requirement to get a FFL. And your response is to quote the Senate Bipartisan Safer Communities Act, which gave you the idea to redesignate who a dealer is? Wow. And that's what I've got for you guys. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I'll see you on the next one. I'm Braden. See you later.